Hello everybody, welcome. Uh, in the last video I talked about us being gaslit, us humans, not just Americans, but basically the whole world. Humans were being gaslit. So anyway, now I'll answer the questions, two questions. Why are we being gaslit and who's doing the gaslighting? First answer, or the first question, why are we being gaslit? It's really simple. It's really, really simple. Again, spoken from the big story. This is a multi-dimensional thing. It's a multi-dimensional event that's going on. It's multi-dimensionally, intergalactically, uh, in the big story, outside of the third dimensional timeline. There is no, everything's just the eternal now. This is all happening right now because there is this classic battle of good and evil, which here in the third and fourth dimension, the dimensions of duality, there is a classic battle of good and evil due to duality and polarity. Outside of the big story, or I mean, outside of the small story, it's just an event that's happening in this now, and it's of really no consequence. It's really weird to hear because, again, the universe being extremely and ultimately paradoxical. It matters and it doesn't matter. One of the biggest paradoxes that just basically works for me is all that is experiencing all that is. There's no really, quote, rhyme or reason why anything's going on, why anything's happening, period, simply because all that is experiencing all that is because it can. Every one of us are individuated aspects of all that is. And everything that we do is all that is through us experiencing this particular aspect of all that is. It almost doesn't make sense, but when you can embrace the paradox, it does make sense. So that's from the big story. Now we'll go into the small story, into the 3D and what's literally going on with us down here in the trenches, because we are down here in the trenches in the 3D. Well, in the 3D, it's in duality, polarity is the basic classic battle of good and evil. Planet Earth is in the process of her next step in evolution. And all of us, quote, light workers, we heard and responded to her call. She put out a call and said, I need some help in in ascending from third and fourth reality base to a fifth dimensional reality base. And we all responded. That's why we're here. The fact that we're here to assist planet Earth, and the fact that we are in duality / polarity, there is a group of beings that are of less light than we are, but they are still part of all that is. There is nothing outside of all that is. Okay? So even in what we perceive as the dark or service to self faction, as opposed to us, service to other faction, even in that, they're still part of all that is, experiencing all that is. It's God experiencing, God, whatever label you want to put, but it's all that is experiencing what it's like to be less light. And it's still all good. But within the trenches, within the down at the from the 40,000 foot level down into the forest, where we're just bumping into trees and we have all these obstacles within the 3D, 3 and 4D, but within the 3D we have all these obstacles which are called trees, which are part of the forest. There is, quote, opposition. The opposition is they don't want planet Earth to ascend. And within the distortions of the third and fourth dimension, it's all about power. It's all about control. The international bankers, the secret government, the cabal. That's what they're known as currently, the cabal. So I'm gonna just from that point on start using the phrase cabal, and that's who they are. The same group that I've been a student of for the last 40 years. Okay, but now their names is convenient cabal. It's only two syllables. Okay, and we all know who they are. We'll take that for granted. Okay, the cabal basically runs the world, and they're in power, and they don't want to give up their power. It is as simple as that. Why they're trying to uh, inhibit the the uh, the evolution of Gaia into the fifth dimension. We're here to assist us light workers, us, and you know, we can call ourselves whatever, but we'll just say we're all light workers, and that's why we're here. We responded to the call, and we here in service to the light. Whereas the people that are trying to hold her are in stasis, in this in control, under their control, they're in service to the dark. So that's who's doing the gaslighting. And it comes down, you know, layer upon layer upon. When I say it's multidimensional, there is an alliance here on planet Earth. Last last figure I heard was 28 country alliance. Uh, it takes a global effort to take down the global cabal. The cabal is global. They basically, at one point, I heard a figure of roughly 1,000 people run the whole world. And I heard that figure 25 years ago. So it might have expanded or it might have even contracted, you know, to where that number is even smaller. Where they tighten their control, that number is even smaller. But a very small amount of people, fractional, minuscule amount of people run the whole world, and there's 7.5 billion of us on the planet. So they don't want to lose that control, but it's inevitable. And within the third dimensional linear timeline, we're in here going through the motions, and we volunteered here. There's no accidents. Everybody here, all of you that's listening to this, myself and everybody listening to this video right now, we all, before we incarnated, we knew exactly what we were doing. We volunteered for this. There are multitudes of beings that wish they could be here, that would love to incarnate, because right now this is the most exciting time. Uh, what's happening on planet Earth is the whole universe is watching. I have heard pro and con that this has never happened before. But I have also heard that from other sources that yes, other planets have ascended. But one thing that I like to and I resonate to is that this time around, we're not going to die. Us in these physical bodies. The process that we're going through right now is we're assimilating more and more light. Am I getting off track? I think I am. But anyway, I'm just following where my thoughts are going. But we're basically, this is all very purposeful, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that's who's doing the gaslighting, is the cabal. Why are they doing the gaslighting? Because they don't want planet Earth to ascend. And they will do everything they can. This everything that we're seeing, this coronavirus, the riots now, all of this is very purposeful. It's all one event after another to counter what the alliance is doing. Again, there is a 28, last I heard, figure I heard, a 28 country alliance that is basically, their goal is to take down the cabal. They're in the process of assisting the light workers. This cabal is made, I mean, this alliance is made up of a lot of light workers here in the 3D. They may not even know yet that they're light workers. They may not be consciously aware of it, but I guarantee you a bunch of them are. They know why they're here. This worldwide alliance is taking on the worldwide cabal. The cabal is global, and it takes a global effort to take them down. Uh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but anyway, I would mention again because I'm not good at note taking or note preparing. I just like to, basically, I don't know, whatever, just follow spirit in my head. Donald Trump is not all that. Okay, Donald Trump is not all that. I think I mentioned before that uh, I have never registered to vote, so I'm not doing the political thing in the 3D. But what I am doing is I'm recognizing that he is the tip of the spear. He's the he's the visual tip of the spear. He's the point man. He's the front, the figurehead of this alliance. And the alliance's stated goal is to take down the cabal. The cabal wants, because in taking down the cabal, planet Earth will be able to ascend in her next step in evolution. And the cabal doesn't want that. They get that they absolutely, because as long as they have the control, and it is just layer upon layer upon layer. I will in successive videos get a little bit more detailed into uh, connecting the dots, but everything is so connected. Uh, Everything I tell you, you can research it yourself. I would admonish you to do research it. But multidimensionally, what's going on here in 3D is also going on in the higher dimensions. Okay, like in the fourth dimension, higher octaves of the fourth dimension, the lower octaves and the higher octaves, that same battle is going on. There is a here just in it gets kind of tangled because when you try to talk about extraterrestrials, and they are here, the Palladians, the Arcturians, the Syrians, they're some of the Orions, some of the Orions are good, quote good, some of the Orions are quote bad, but they're all here assisting us. I got a piece of data. I interacted with a transmission from Blossom Goodchild. I suggested that you follow her. And the Federation of Light was saying that, yes, this is a multidimensional endeavor, this quote classic battle between good and evil, light and dark, and that there is face to face interactions with beings from the quote spaceships, the extraterrestrials. And Blossom asked them, well, are the meetings here on Earth or in space? Flower of Light, or it's not Flower of Light, Federation of Light said the face to face meetings are in space on their spaceships because the cabal can't infiltrate that domain, which makes sense. It is so much more secure on their spaceships than they are down here on planet Earth. And I absolutely believe in the spaceships because the fifth dimensional aspect of me, from the quote future, the higher dimensional aspect of me. I don't know if I ever shared this. I think I did in the other videos, but yes, I know for a fact that my higher aspect of me, one of my higher aspects of me, is a co-commander of a fleet of 17 spaceships. I've been me on the higher dimensions. Literally been me, not saw me, but I've literally been me in consciousness on the higher dimensions. Nobody can tell me that's not true. You don't have to believe it, but I was there. Okay? So it's like If you weren't there, who are you to tell me that was just my imagination or that wasn't real? I have a memory of it as if it happened yesterday. Okay, I can pull up that memory, which I'm doing right this moment, because it was me. Just like I can remember a bunch of other stuff that I've done, and it was me that did it. So anyway, I've been me on the higher dimensions. I know all of us are there. All of us are on the higher dimensions. We just all volunteered to step down in frequency so that we can incarnate these third dimensional bodies, because that's all they are. These aren't us. So anyway, uh, so that covers why we're being gaslit and who's doing the gaslighting. Yeah, that pretty much covers that. We're being gaslit in summary. We're being gaslit as a society, and the whole world is being gaslit. But this is a whole worldwide endeavor, not just United States. But the thing is bigger and shit. Okay, United States is the leader of the free world. It just is, and I've been saying this for 30 years, actually longer than that. I remember saying this back in the early 80s that if you wanted a one world government, and this was before I spiritually started waking up, but was a student of the secret government and looking at their program, thinking from how would I do it? That's the best way to think about something. If you want to know what your enemy is doing, think from his perspective. How would you strategize? Okay. And I looked at it and I'm thinking, okay, here's United States up here, the land of milk and honey, the shining light on the hill, to quote everybody, okay? This is the United States up here, and this is the rest of the world down here. Well, from just a cost-effective method, just frame of, logistics and finances, it's more cost-effective to bring United States down here to the level of the rest of the world than to try to bring the whole world up to this level. Because you can't have a one world government with the United States way up here sticking out like a sore thumb. So over the last 40, 50 years, we have been, our standard of living, everything very incrementally and slowly have been brought down to the level of the rest of the world to where now we're basically a third world country. And now they can have their one world government because now everything is on the equal playing field instead of us way up here. So, what was that? What was my point? Anyway, that's a good point. So anyway, I'm gonna have to learn how to start taking notes. But I just it's too structured in my head to take notes. But I bet it's a bitch trying to follow me. I'm so sorry if that's the case. But I'll try to maybe do better or make the endeavor to maybe do an outline. I did have a bunch of stuff that when I first 6 months ago, when this first tapestry thing started coming to me, I jotted down a bunch of stuff. They weren't necessarily notes. They were just like points to. I think I'll follow that a little bit, okay, to maybe I can be a little more coherent and make more sense. But anyway, uh, I beg your indulgence. All right, I'll get better because it's this trying to articulate what I see, the big story, trying to articulate it, because that's what I used to do in the truck all the time. I think I mentioned that before. When I was on the truck by myself for the last 5 years before, from 2012 to 2017, for that 5 year period before I retired, I would just take all these big story concepts and try to translate them into a concept that I could share in the third 3D. And if I could do the translation and it made sense in the 3D, then I did it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do a little bit more of that here in these series. But what I see way out here in the big story is like, dude, you just phenomenal. It's everything from unity consciousness Everything is connected. We will see, and as time passes, will blow your mind. Will literally blow your mind. A lot of people are going to have cognitive dissonance because they just can't get their head around it. But it's time for me to share with you guys, because once the stuff really starts to hit the fan and things really start coming out, people are going to be asking you guys because they know who you are in their life. You're still the crazy people, okay? You're the tinfoil hat wearing nut jobs. But when things get really, really stupid and people start waking up, because people are waking up, I've had 2 new subscriptions in the last week, okay? Things are picking up. The frequency is vibrating and raising. It's quickening. That's an esoteric way of saying everything's accelerating. Things are quickening. You guys are going to be the ones that they're going to turn to, and they're going to ask, what the hell is going on? Because all the stuff that you've been saying over the last several years with your tinfoil hat wearing selves, all the stuff that you've been saying, all the quote conspiracies, all of a sudden, they're going to start being proven true. They're going to, because when this data comes out, you weren't wrong. You were on the right track, which is why you're you. You were led to know this stuff. Your light codes went off prior to everybody else's. Okay, that's why you have the data and they will come to you. This is why mine went off before yours, and which is why I'm sharing this now from my perspective so that you can formulate your own way that it is. And when your circle comes to you and start going, what meaneth this? What meaneth this? Because none of it's going to make sense. And it will be us, you guys, will be the ones to help steer and make sense of it all. With that being said, I love you all dearly. Blessings on your journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.